All-Star Toyota presents Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Okay, here we go.
Where the plays get broken down and science gets denied.
Hey, they said I got to come off the bench.
Hour 2 of Off the Bench, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, starts now.
Welcome back in. Hour number 2, OTB. I'm going to throw it right back to Tay because he mentioned some Cruton news. There is a big decision going down today here in the capital city.
Yeah, Lamar Brown, the big one that everybody's waiting for. I mean, a lot of people say this could be the number one lineman in the country, regardless of position. He's committing today at U-High at around 12:15, so it'll probably be more like 12:45. But it's a two-horse race right now. LSU, Texas A&M. The guy's been back and forth. I mean, you remember it was the controversy that everybody freaked out about, that he canceled his LSU trip, went to A&M. Yep. Everybody freaked out, went back to LSU. They got the final visit. Like, it's been neck and neck right now. It'll come down to the wire for sure.
He is right now on On3.com, the number 7 overall player in the country, regardless of position. He plays offense and defensive line there for U-High. Great young man. Really enjoyed watching him play over the last couple of years. And, you get a little nervous whenever it's somebody that is a Baton Rouge guy, right? Do they want to spend the next 3-4 years in the same city? And you get real nervous when it's a U-High player just because – well, they've gone to school on LSU's campus basically their entire life. And he is one of the best players, as we said, top 10 player regardless of position. It would be a massive get for LSU here in this next recruiting class. And I know that I think Texas and Miami are the other teams. I'm sure they'll have a place at the table, but it is Texas A&M and LSU.
Yeah, you got to thinking about just recruiting in general, especially when you're recruiting a hometown guy. First of all, you got to say, well, I hope Baton Rouge treated him well up to this point in his life, and he wants to stay for about 4 more years. But it's so interesting just in our world. It's like what conversations are going on behind like closed doors on all these recruits. And we're not just talking about the specific one, but behind all closed doors with all these other schools. Like, is there offers being thrown out? How, like, what kind of money gets talked? There's agents involved? I'm so curious about how all that plays out in the recruiting of high. I know it does when you're going from college to college because they have a little bit more support once they're in college, I think. Yeah. As far as like negotiating and talking about the money part of things. But when you're talking about coaches sitting in a 16, 17-year-old's living room, what kind of conversations are happening?
What kind of conversations, like this is more of an old school conversation, not the NIL. And like you can go find like Rivals, who's now part of On3, like they have NIL value and the evaluation for a Lamar Brown. But I'm talking about like just old school conversations about later in life. And I know those don't happen as much, but for me, it was an easier sell to come to LSU because Coach Saban's like, hey, if you want to be set up for the rest of your life, here's how it happens. You're from Louisiana. You go to LSU, you play well, you play in the league for a little bit, and you come back, and Louisiana takes care of you. That was the sell, and it's been very true in my life. You came from out of state. What was maybe the main talk? Because that was it. That was the main talk to me, to my parents, whoever. That was it. For somebody coming out of state, what was like the main point?
Yeah. Man, I was so just at that stage of my life, I was so just like what's right in front of me mindset. And yeah, I've told the story so many times about like I grew up a Baylor fan. I grew up like in the old, at my young days, the old Southwestern Conference fan. And then, of course, the Big 12. And then when I was getting recruited in high school, my eyes were open to the SEC, I first went to my first SEC game ever was Tennessee at Alabama on a recruiting trip.
Yep.
It wasn't my recruiting trip. It was a friend of mine that was a year older. It was his recruiting trip. And I was like, I looked around and like all the tailgate and the stadium. I'm like looking around, like, what the hell is this? Like, and that's when I fell in love with the SEC. So I knew I wanted to go to a school in the SEC. But I was just the recruiting pitch was, for me, it was pretty easy. It was like LSU is in the SEC. I know I want to go there. At the time when I was getting recruited, Rohan Davey was out there just spinning it, throwing it all over the place. And I was like, all right, well, this is the guy that's recruiting me, Jimbo Fisher, is the guy that created that offense and is running that offense, play calling that. Like, so the opportunity was there. They showed a lot of interest in me. So then you want to go to a place where you were wanted, of course. And they did. I mean, that was just total old school recruiting style back then. It's like you gotta make the players like you. You got to make them feel wanted. You got to make them feel important. You got to do all the things, right? But it wasn't ever like, man, I'm going to go there and I'm going to, like your story. I mean, it's a great recruiting tactic for you from Louisiana, play in Louisiana, come back, you're set for life. That was never like part of my mindset. I never even had the mindset when I was in high school of like, oh, I can go play at the next level.
Right.
When I got to college, I wasn't like, oh, I can go play at the next level. It was just like what's directly in front of me. But LSU is just the place that I went and visited, and I knew I wanted to play in the SEC, fell in love with it, and I don't know. I guess I just keep living for the moment.
Look at you.
Yeah, look at me.
I
don't like to plan ahead.
I think we know. Yeah, we know.
Like Deshaun Foster.
Yeah, right. The UHI portion of it is interesting, just because, like, I understand. Like, I get it. Like, that was one of my fears sending my children to UHI. I was like, man, are they going to, like, want to go somewhere else just because, like, Dad, I've gone here for 12 straight years?
Spread their wings.
Right? Do I want to go somewhere different? I mean, their school literally, like, it's literally on campus, right? So that's always, like, a worry there. But
you said they get to go, like, get food at the Union.
Yeah, they do.
That's
and
cool.
That's part of what they do. Yeah, it's cool. But that's always, like, one of the things that you worry about. But this is a player that you've got a real opportunity at. You've got a real shot at. And look, no matter what happens today, I don't think that either school stops recruiting Lamar Brown. That's just going to continue to happen. A&M, LSU, both those schools. And actually, they would be doing themselves a disservice if they did not continue to recruit him. Unless he's just like, I completely, totally want to shut it down. I don't want to field calls because I'm worried about the season. I get that. But I'll just say this. And I'm biased, no doubt about it. Purple and gold glasses here. I've said it once, I've said it a million times, and let's go 1,000,001. Mm-hmm. Matt, coming from Texas, had Texas, Baylor, Texas Tech, Houston, A&M, whatever, right? If this was a Mississippi conversation, you've got Mississippi State and you've got Ole Miss. All right. If this was a Georgia conversation, even Georgia Tech won a national championship in the 90s, right? If this was an Alabama conversation, well, you've got Auburn, you've got Alabama. If you are talking in the state of Florida, you got Miami, you got Florida, you got Florida State. I think what makes Louisiana unique, and this is not a shot at Louisiana Tech or ULL or any of that, they're good programs, but we all know what it is. From top to bottom, east to west, LSU is king. And if you have the opportunity to be from Louisiana and go to LSU, it is a true 40-year decision, not a 4-year decision. Mm-hmm. Because it doesn't matter where you're at in the state, right? No place hates LSU. Like if you're in Texas and you're in Austin, well, they hate A&M. If you're in Auburn, Alabama, they hate Alabama. If you're in Tuscaloosa, they hate Auburn, right? In those surrounding areas, right? LSU is different in that way. To the success that they've had and the advantages that they have and the things they can give you after life.
And that's what makes LSU fans,
on the football field,
like so great, such great sports fans and such also harsh sports fans as well, because they know ball, they love ball, they're passionate about it. We all are. Like everybody in Louisiana passionate about the Tigers and the Saints and whoever we cheer for in Louisiana. And if you are good to them, they're good to you. And probably a little bit of vice versa, but I mean, but that's what makes it so great. That's why people want to go here. And I would say to this kid and any other kid, like, take your time in the process, enjoy the recruitment, like the whole thing, make your visits, go see other places. But like, and at the end of the day, when you decide to make a commitment, and this is like what my dad preached with me and what I would, hope to preach to my kids if they ever got the opportunity. It's like, we're going to visit. We're going to keep an open mind. We're going to see other places, see what other people say, have to offer, blah, blah, blah. Like, once we make a commitment, that's our commitment. Like, we shut it down. Like, if we commit to somebody and promise them that we're going to come there, unless they do something that they said they weren't going to do, then so like when I was getting recruited, the first time I met with them, when they offered me a scholarship, we're taking 2 quarterbacks this year.
Yeah.
We have to have 2. We're taking 2. I said, great. I said, I'll be your first to commit.
Yeah.
So I did. And then a month later, Robert Lane committed.
Oh, whoa.
So
Robert Lane, Neville.
Yep.
Shout out to the Monroe area.
Ended up playing tight end fullback at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah, good dude.
I've told you my Robert Lane story.
Well, no, but let me finish this story.
Okay.
So, but I'm
proud of you for finishing your story, by the way.
Thank you. I see squirrels a lot. I'm going to finish this one. But I committed to him. So it's like, and he's great. And I knew up front, 2 quarterbacks, blah, blah, blah. The only wavering I ever did was the week leading up to signing day. They were still, even though they had both of us committed, they were still hard recruiting Jamarcus.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you got 2 committed. You said you were taking 2. You're not pulling a scholarship from me or Robert.
Yeah.
Like, you can't, like, they're not going to say, sorry, you don't get it anymore.
Right.
Because we committed to him, right?
Yeah.
It just didn't work that way. That's a really bad impression. It was pretty public that these kids are committed. And I was like, so, like what's up? Like, and then so I almost ended up decommitting like the night before. Ooh. So Robert Lane did decommit.
He did.
And I almost decommitted the night before. Just because of that. So like if the college does something that they said they weren't going to do, right? Then okay, the commitment, you can maybe go back on that at that point. But we almost switched over to A&M.
Oh,
I know, Landra. Sorry. So Francione was Francione was a coach at Alabama.
We did not know this before we hired him here.
I wasn't an A&M fan growing up. Okay, Francione
went there.
Francione was the first like big school to offer me a scholarship. Like he offered me a scholarship like on the field of their spring game, like in the middle of like in front of all the fans. Like it was kind of a cool story.
Yeah.
But he leaves that job to go to Texas A&M job, and this was like the week before signing day or something like that. He's on his like opening press conference, taking the job at A&M, and I'm watching the press conference at home. And press conference is over, and like a minute or 2 later, my phone's ringing, and it's him. And he's like, hey, dude, you want to come be my quarterback? Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I'm committed. But then the whole thing where they kept recruiting Jamarcus was happening.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, maybe I do want to go over there. I don't know. So but I remember I talked to Jimbo for
glad you didn't.
For like 2 hours the night before signing day. Me and talked to Jimbo.
You know how many words Jimbo can get in 2 hours?
Oof.
You know how many?
All the words.
You know how many?
Every word.
17-year-old me got in?
0.
Probably not a lot.
0.
Oh my gosh, you would have been out there at yell practice.
Yep.
Whoop.
Well, look, and if it didn't work out there at quarterback, I could have been a yell leader.
That's Taylor.
We have too many yell leaders
The
in
most
here. Like one
yell
too many.
leader person in this building, but they keep saying
Taylor,
it.
you're not you're not the most.
I'm up there.
You see all those push-ups they do though?
You're not the
There's
most.
at least 6 people I could rip right now that are more yell leader. At
Who?
least
Let's
Name
see.
'em.
In this
Hunt,
building,
Moscona, Musso, right there off the bat.
I don't think Moose would
I
be.
could see Moose. If it like LSU baseball needed a yell leader, he'd be in that number. Same thing for Hunt.
Hunt is the yell leader.
Yeah,
He
true.
went to yell practice.
That's very true. A couple things before we take a break. George the Greek says, wrong day for Hester to wear the A&M hat. It's actually a Lenora Sellers hat because he kept beating Flynn in NCAA.
Mm-hmm.
Or it's a
Good
Mississippi State hat because I want him to know who Jeff Lebby is.
Good coach.
You know,
Swag.
could be a lot
They
of
are
different
swag.
things, George.
Jeff
Although I
is swag.
appreciate the comment. Good call. Robert Lane's story. I've told this on air before, and statute of limitations is over. I didn't tell it for like 20 years. So in the recruiting process, you get head coach's numbers, right? And like you save them in your phone because like if the head coach calls, you want it to answer or whatever. It's not like it is today. Like it is what it is. Like you had like 4 or 5 head coaches in your phone. That's the only way you can get in contact with him. There was no text messages. There was no social media. So my buddies get my phone one time, and I don't even think anything of it. I'm like, what are they doing over there? Playing Snake? And so later on in the night, like, we're high school kids doing stupid things probably. But they're like, hey, let's do it. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. What are we doing?
Yeah, okay, sure.
So my buddy, he gets his phone based off a number he had already gotten out of my phone.
Oh, boy.
And he calls it. And this is the day after signing day, your class. And this man called Coach Saban.
Oh, my God.
And he said, hey, this is blah, blah, blah from this blah, blah, blah paper or whatever. I'm like, and I don't know who's on the phone, but I know something's going down, and I'm panicking. And he's like, I just want to get a quote on Robert Lane coming to LSU and how that's going to work out and maybe the future for Robert Lane. And I wasn't listening. Like, it wasn't speakerphone back then. But they tell me that he says, don't you know Robert Lane didn't sign here? He signed with Ole Miss. And my buddy said, yeah, that's because this is a prank call, you idiot.
Prank calling Saban's elite.
Yeah, dummy.
I mean, that's
And
some
y'all,
cojones.
I mean, my palms are sweaty still thinking about that. And that was 22 years
Was
ago.
it on speaker? Did they have speakerphone?
No,
back
they
then?
had
I can't-
speakerphone, so I didn't hear what he said. But my buddy said, all he said was, don't you know he signed with Ole Miss? And that's why he's like, yeah, it's a prank call, you idiot. Do y'all want to know? This is really going behind the scenes here. Do y'all want to know where that guy ended up playing college football and who he ended up playing college football for?
Absolutely.
Alabama and Nick Saban.
I'm assuming he never told Saban that.
Probably not. Man,
it's a prank call, you idiot.
Y'all don't understand. Like,
That's so good.
I was not, like, I had Coach Saban's number, but I was by no means like guaranteed to go to LSU at that point. All right. And I'm like, what was it? Star 6-7 or star 6-9?
Yeah,
What'd you push?
star 6-7.
Star 6-7. But like, so to hide your number. I mean, I'm panicking. Like, what if it didn't work? What if it came through? Like, did you just ruin my future?
Yeah.
Like, is my future over now?
How much do we trust Star 67?
I actually never tried it.
I think so.
Back in the day, it was big.
Look,
I
was in a
prank calls.
conversation
I've
last
prank
week
called with star
where
6-7
people
before.
still use it.
T-Pow said, I'd
It
rather
still
prank
works.
call 911 than Saban. y'all have to understand, like
Wait, I'm gonna prank call Flynn right now.
like,
Yeah, so that
my
actually
buddy
still works. Apparently.
my buddy, like he was just, that was him. Like, wasn't gonna panic. It didn't matter who it was. But for about 3 months, I was panicked that Coach Saban knew that it was, me who he got the number from.
Anytime he gets on to you in practice, you're like, damn,
Oh,
does he know?
Are you doing it right now?
I'm trying.
Star 6-7.
Yeah, hold on.
well, she's got to get nobody knows numbers by heart anymore.
I know. I'm like going back and forth.
Don't say it on the mic.
I thought she was for a little bit
225.
because I was
I'm just
about
kidding.
555.
That's not it.
That would be really funny if I did tell your number on air.
On accident.
Okay, I'm star 670.
Check this out. Can you zoom in?
Does it say unknown?
It says no caller ID.
No caller ID right
That's crazy
there.
because
Still
on mine,
works.
on
It
mine it
still
says I'm
Matt
calling
Flynn,
Matt
yeah.
Flynn, even if I have star 6-7.
I'll be darned.
Wild.
Still works. I bet AI knows.
Oh, like ask AI who's calling me right now,
Maybe.
Oh, maybe. I'll just.
or what? did
Robert
you
Lane
China knows.
mean? China.
China.
turned into a fullback and never really panned out.
I remember hanging out with him at Reggie's back in the day. He came in when they had an off week. We were out there in that back corner,
Jason Spadoni there too.
Mm-hmm.
With his shirt off.
Absolutely. Sweat towel, back pocket.
Called that a soldier rag. That's what was your boy? That's what he called it.
Which one?
Ricky Clausen. That's what he called it. His soldier
How
rag.
do you know that? You weren't. I wasn't in school with him.
One of my visits, I was with Maxwell and Bull, I think. We're giving all the names today.
Just
Let's go.
exposing everybody.
It's over 20-something years. Nobody
Yeah, no,
cares.
statute of limitations.
And one of those names I just gave was a nickname. Nobody knows,
Yeah, it's fine.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Rick Clausen, though, man, like when he left, with the Tennessee. Like everybody thought he was going to be the guy, and then Eric Ainge had something to say about that.
Rick Clausen did kind of come in and beat us on a Monday night in 05.
Yeah, was that Les's first game?
No, first year. First game was Arizona State.
Oh, that's right. That was the one that got moved because of the. Well, they both got moved.
That team was too damn good to lose that game.
I know. Up 21-0 at halftime. They couldn't stop Joe Adai. What happened? How did we lose that game?
I have no idea.
We threw a throwback screen to me, and it was going to be. I could have done the like icky shuffle into the end zone.
Gritty.
And one of our tight ends, I don't want to put him on blast. He missed the block, and so Jamarcus
putting everybody else on blast.
Well, that's different than when you miss a play. So Jamarcus had to throw it at my feet, and like I remember being mad at Jamar, like, "What do you do? Why you throw?" He's like, "Because you would have got crushed for a 5-yard loss." He said it in a different way. There was a couple more choice words because I used some choice words too. Yeah, that was an overtime, I believe. Of that, maybe not. Maybe like final drive or something.
There was like a 4th and 1 on the goal that they had. This is a prank call, you idiot.
All right. I don't want to talk about that Tennessee game ever again in my life. More OTB when we come back. God bless you.
Off the bench.
All right, go to GoTommies.com, Geaux Tommies with a Y.com. That is the website for Tommy's Windows, Doors, and Siding, where they continue to stack awards. They are basically the Celtics when like Larry Bird was there, the Bulls when Michael Jordan was there.
The Olympic dream
They're
team.
the Warriors whenever Steph Curry was making every three that he put up. Bill Russell, Celtics, you also throw them in there. The point is they win. Year after year after year after year. They are the best in Baton Rouge. That's not just us saying that, even though we say that, obviously, fully leaded. That is the Advocate saying that. Best of 2025 windows, Tommy's. GoTommies.com.
GoTommies.com. Go check them out. Go see testimonials on their website. Go see their gallery. You can actually see the work that they've done. Windows, doors, siding. You talk about lifetime warranties. That's if they put a window in. That's for your entire life. GoTommies.com. See what they can do. GoTommies.com.
Join up.
Throw it up, dubs on the Cadillac, white tees, Nikes, gangsters don't know how to act. Adamsville, Bankhead, College Park, Harbor Home, Hummers floating on chrome, choking on that homegrown.
Locked in on LSU football 24/7. You're listening to Off the Bench.
Who is the biggest LSU recruit that LSU missed on that everybody thought was going to be just doomsday situation and the player didn't turn out to really be anything?
He was a decent college player. Joe McKnight, though. People had a meltdown. Joe
that
McKnight.
was
And,
where
like,
my
LSU
head-
had
Yeah,
a ton
I
of
do remember
success
that.
right after he left.
I wasn't even
so-
like
That's where my head was going.
I wasn't even here. Like I was playing.
Yeah.
We were in the NFL, right?
How much college ball did you watch when you played in the NFL?
Not a lot.
I didn't watch, I don't think.
I watched only LSU, and I was not like locked in like I am now. I mean, I had the game on, but like, you know, I didn't know the depth chart, if that's what you're asking. No, I didn't. I knew my buddies who were still on the team, you know, like Shep and Perry and T-Bob and people like that.
Yeah, I watched LSU. But that was,
Y'all
Yeah.
just missed him. His freshman year was 07.
Okay. Like,
I
do
do remember.
y'all
I do
y'all
remember
overlapped
that
a year.
fallout, though.
did we? Oh, he would have been here when we were
His freshman
here.
year was 07.
See, I
So that was y'all's last year.
felt like we were in the NFL already, but I guess not. I don't know why. Like, I don't remember that being such a. I remember it being a huge deal. Like, people were like, "Oh my God, he's got this color shirt on.
Dude,
He's
we
gonna
had just
commit
won
there."
the national championship, and we were training for combines and like celebrating. We weren't locked into signing day.
I don't know. That does feel like a big one. Robert Lane feels like a big one, even though maybe that wasn't because Jamarcus and you both signed, so LSU fans probably weren't like completely torn up because you got two quarterbacks.
I wonder if at the time they like told Robert like, "Hey, if Jamarcus signs, you're out." type deal, or they just didn't. They felt disrespected because they kept recruiting. I don't know.
John David Booty, my high school quarterback, not going to LSU. And remember, John David actually graduated high school early and went to USC. He was my class, but we had all taken, like, all of us took summer school to get ahead. Mm-hmm. And so he had enough credits to graduate.
But he panned out, right?
Yeah, he did. He won 2 Rose Bowls.
I was just thinking, I went to work done.
Well, if we had that list of like
back.
guys that didn't, like it'd be Ed Reed, it could be Reggie Wayne. I'm talking about like players that got so built up, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, LSU missed on this guy. This guy's gonna terrorize LSU for multiple.
Isn't there
years.
a kid that, of course, Devontae Smith, but wasn't there another kid from A-Meet that went to Bama?
Yeah, it's Ishmael Sopsher. He was a bust.
Oh my god.
However, though,
Cruton guy.
there
Let's go.
there were rumblings.
I forgot
there were
him.
some people who had issues with him when he was in high school, though.
But I covered
motor
their
wasn't
state
big.
championship game for CST, and oh my gosh,
Yeah,
that's a great one. That's a good pull there.
Ishmael Sopsher. I
Look at
remember
you. How about that?
Not a big deal,
20
really, if you think about it.
Feels like a huge deal.
2014. Everybody, it was the Under Armour All-American game, and everybody's like, LSU's going 5 for 5. Y'all remember 5 for 5 on these recruits?
Oh yeah.
You got 2 for 5, and
Who were
everybody
the 5?
everybody freaked out. The 2 you got, Leonard Fournette and Jamal Adams. The 3 you missed on, Speedy Noyle, Tony Brown, Gerald Willis. You got the 2 best by far.
The only reason I know one of those humans is because his name's Speedy.
Right.
I don't even know the other 2.
Played at A&M, didn't do anything. Tony Brown went to Alabama. He was a corner, didn't really do anything. And then Gerald Willis bounced around on like 5 different teams.
Gunnar Kill, the guy that did not have the chest to play at LSU, according to Coach Miles.
Didn't have the chest? What about his gait? How's that?
I don't know, but I know about his chest.
Someone in the chat saying Eddie Lacy, Landon Collins. I feel like those guys kind of panned a little bit. Huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Eddie
We're not talking about guys that panned out.
Yeah.
Like Eddie Lacy played a long time in the NFL. Landon Collins played a long time in the NFL. Like not those guys. I'm talking about like guys that like did not turn into the player
Brock
that we.
Berlin.
Yeah, I mean Brock didn't. Like Brock played in the NFL, so it's hard to say like he didn't turn into anything. He won an Orange Bowl as a starting quarterback in Miami, but I do understand like to what the height of like Brock Berlin has a day in Shreveport. It's Brock Berlin Day. He was a Gatorade National Player of the Year, USA Today Player of the Year. That one, like I had no idea. I was a freshman. Like I had no idea like recruiting or like the impact of him not going to LSU.
I thought he was the greatest football player to ever play.
A lot of people.
I thought in high school, I thought he was better than Troy Aikman.
A lot of
at the
people
time.
like you're not the only person I've heard say that. I mean, he was so good, but I didn't understand a guy like that not going to LSU at the time. Like I just didn't know. I'm like, oh, he's going to Florida. Steve Spurrier, they'll throw the football. Okay, that makes sense. Whatever.
Yeah,
I'm sure that one did hurt. And there was my high school. My high school's had a lot of players
LSU wasn't good.
that did not go to LSU. You had, Abram and Josh Booty went to LSU. Certainly some peaks and valleys there on the field and from the fan base. Now, they had some great times. I mean, Josh was all SEC one year. Abram certainly had big moments in an LSU uniform. But, there was a long period of time where guys from my high school did not work out at LSU.
Yeah.
Actually, a lot.
Which Evangel players ended up having a good NFL career besides yourself?
It's a great question.
Yeah.
I know I'm missing somebody. I think there's somebody now that plays for the Ravens for a long time.
In the chat,
That's a great question. I'm gonna look that up while you're talking.
In the chat, people are bringing up Dylan Moses as well, but I know injuries kind of were a big issue there. Dylan Moses, great dude though.
Yeah,
super great guy.
Yeah, he actually is training people at Elite.
Yeah, I know.
And
Hawk and Twos were over there with him last week. Yeah,
nice. Let's go.
Yeah,
Memphis
super great
has been to
guy.
him before.
Wish him nothing but success.
His brother now playing for LSU.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm going to look this up because Trent Taylor, Evangel guy, was still like bouncing back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. He was a good
Louisiana
player.
Tech, and then for the 49ers for a while. Trent Taylor, shout out, UCA.
And so Evangel's a bunch of system players over there. Not a lot of grit.
Darius Washington is the player from Evangel that plays corner for the Ravens. He is in his 4th season. That's somebody else. But that's a great question. I need to do some research on that. use some research. But yes, we were system players.
Absolutely, we were.
Dude, we were throwing the football before anybody else did. Now, I'm not saying like we didn't have talent. We obviously did. But we were 5 wide when y'all were in the wing tee.
Not only were y'all 5 wide, Brock was at least 7 yards back from the center.
Oh, it was
taking a 5 to 7 step drop from there. He was throwing the ball from 10 to 12 yards behind the line of
It was
scrimmage.
like a 9-yard shotgun because we didn't have the offensive line to be able to block. And we had quarterbacks that could make every throw, so it just made sense. We also had coaches that were like former college coordinators. Like at places like UL Monroe and Louisiana Tech, but still like college coordinators coaching high school and being our coordinators then. Like our receivers coach my junior year was once the offensive coordinator at Louisiana Tech, the receivers coach.
Yep.
So you paired that together with system and coaching.
I saw it firsthand in Tyler, Texas. My family went to watch in the Tyler Rose Bowl, John Tyler play Evangel. This is 1999 or 2000. I can't remember. But this is John Tyler, who had won the Texas 5A state championship like 5 times in the 90s. It's like that famous high school clip of Plano East versus John Tyler, like the good gosh almighty Joe Friday. And like the guy that melts down. Because
I could throw up.
We should throw that clip on today during the show. But so they're playing. The only pass that John Tyler ever did was like a 3-step dump to the tight end, like the dump route. Like you're throwing it straight to the tight end before he gets to the linebackers. Like that's the only pass they ever did. And so they're running like scat. They run wide toss, like the quarterback would turn it like underhand spiral toss it out wide to the run. They would play like 9 running backs in a game. They had so many athletes.
Yeah.
They were just fast. They beat everybody to the edge. And they won so many state championships. So can you imagine? That's your offense. That's what you know. And then Evangel comes in, throwing the ball. It's like the scene from Remember the Titans when they played that one the shotgun team. It was like, they're like, what do we do? We've never seen this before. We don't even know. Didn't even know this existed. And they destroyed them. He threw for over 300 yards in the first half.
Yeah. We ran the same system that we ran in San Diego and Norv. Like we ran a West Coast kind of number system, those principles, though, in high school when literally nobody was doing that. And eventually once people started to catch up, it was more difficult. But then Evangel got better players, and then they kind of could still compete. And then we kind of changed it up my junior and senior year. We went to more of a pro-style offense where we were throwing the football, but we did some under the center stuff. But, yeah, Evangel was dominant because they had really good quarterbacks, really good coaches, and a really good scheme and in the beginning of the process.
Colby Reynolds in the chat says, wrong. He was 11 yards deep.
He might have been 11. I mean, Colby, you might be right.
It was a punt.
Our center, let's see, was that Craig DeSoto? I think was his name.
Did you have to snap it like this?
No, yeah, it was like a deep snap. I was literally about to say that. It was pretty much like he was throwing it back there to the punter because the punter's at 15. It was you got the bomb squad in front of you. Hold long enough until Brock can throw this 10-yard out route, which is really about a 23-yard.
I can just see a high school, like 75-year-old ref out there. The first game he sees it in Texas. Louisiana comes in. It's just like that scene we talked about yesterday from Semi-Pro. First play. Penalty. No, 2 penalties. I don't even know what this is. You can't line up that deep in offense. Just like that. Like, what the hell is going on? There has to be something illegal happening with this offense. Can you imagine? Like you've been reffing games where there's 1 or 2 passes a game, then that comes to town.
And comes 45.
Like there's got to be a rule that outlaws this.
All right, we'll take a break. More OTB when we come back on the other side.
Off the bench.
All right, go to allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com. If you're buying new, if you are leasing, if you are renting, everything is available, bigger, smaller, everything in between. No matter what your needs are, they're going to be met over at All Star. So if you've got that last-minute summer vacation, if you've got the last-minute volleyball, soccer, baseball, softball tournament, and you've got some extra stuff in the back and your car is normally big enough, but it's not because of the stuff, get the Sienna, get the Sequoia, the Tacoma, the Tundra, all available, allstartoyotaofbatonrouge.com.
You're driving around and you're just thinking to yourself, it's time. Whether it's time because you just want an upgrade, you want a little bit, some new technology in your car, or maybe your car's just old and you're having to take it to the shop too many times. Go see what they got. You can go visit them on airline near Goodwood, or you can go to their website, see what cars they actually have on the lot. You can start your trade-in process right there, see what your current car is worth, see how much you can get off a brand new one. All-Star Toyota of BatonRouge.com.
From players to legends, Hester and Flynn break down LSU football like only champions can.
From the moment I saw you, I went out on my mind. Oh, I never believed in love at first sight. But you got a magic, boy, that I just can't explain. Well, you got a way that you're making me feel I can do anything for you, baby. I'll be done for you, baby.
I've done a little research. Shreveport Evangel. Got a couple of active players. Ardarius Washington, safety, Baltimore Ravens. Jarek Bernard Converse, former LSU Tiger, active for the Jets. Elijah Chapman, active for the Giants. Miles Cole, active for the Jags. Trent Taylor, still active. Didn't know that. Shout out to Trent. Mike Baskerville, another LSU Tiger. Brock Berlin played 2 seasons. Keontae Dawson played 7 seasons. I played 6. Not the long list that I thought I was going to find. Joe McKnight did go to Evangel. Speaking of Joe McKnight, during Katrina for like 3 games.
Really?
Yeah. Like 3 games
So
and then
do
went
you-
back to New Orleans.
Did he claim him?
No, he played for John Curtis.
Was there a lot of people that played for other teams during that time?
I don't know. I was here. I wasn't worried about Evangel.
That's a good point.
We were worried about having some of my roommates' family members having to stay with us because they didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, that was a wild time.
Yeah.
Wild time. I remember practicing on the practice field, and Miles and all the coaches like saying, "Hey, once we get on the practice field, like we know there's a lot happening. This is a crazy situation, but like once we cross those white lines, focus on practice and don't look up, because you looked up, there was like 20 Black Hawk helicopters, medevacs, just
Going to the PMAC. Yeah.
I mean, there was stuff all over our head the whole time. They're like, just don't look up. Let's just 2 hours.
Yeah.
And after that, we're going to go bring supplies at the PMAC. We're going to go do all the things that we need to do to help and stay safe, protected, but don't look up.
It was.
You looked up, didn't you?
Oh, no doubt. For sure. That's how I knew
You remember
how many were up there.
Do you remember that
Scouting.
practice the night, like basically the hurricane was hitting, and we were all back home, and we had to come back home. You know, it was like zombie apocalypse. I was the only person going south on I-49, and I got stopped like 10 times. Like, sir, what are you doing? Play LSU football. Coach said we got to be back, and like 10 times. But then we got back, and it's like, all right, we got to practice. We're in the indoor, and you could just hear the wind and things just like slamming into the indoor.
Yep.
And we're sitting there. You remember we had the like those generator lights that were brought into the indoor because the power was out. What a wild time to be practicing football.
Getting ready for a football game.
Yeah. During an actual hurricane.
Actual, like, real life. Like, football doesn't matter at that point, right? But, like, real life stuff happening directly across the street. Real life, like, tragedies, heartbreak, and just, like, all that stuff happening. And, you know, at the time, you're like, football doesn't matter, like, with all this stuff's going on. But, like, I remember after we won that first game at Arizona State, and as trivial as sports were at that time, it was how many people did we like comes to us or hear from that were like, man, in a time where everything was disastrous, you know, we lost everything we have, we lost people, or whatever it is. It's like at least I got to put a smile on my face for a little while, just for that, which was, you know, power sport though. It was pretty cool.
We made it interesting in in Tempe, Arizona that day as well.
What a throw.
Yeah.
One of the most underappreciated throws. Jamarcus rolling left, slinging that thing.
I don't know.
It was close.
Provide the guy?
Maybe the angles would have been off,
I
but
don't know. I do not know. All right, we will take a break. We'll play a little catch up. But before we do, as we've talked about this week, we are fired up to have Gulf Coast Office Products on the team. Number one copy machine dealer and printer distributor in the state of Louisiana. They can support you nationwide. They can support you anywhere you're at. They can support you through a human being and not a robot. No robots here. Interactive whiteboard, can't wait. Just one of the many things that they can provide for you. I mean, we're going to be breaking down tape. We're going to be X's and O's. We're going to have Alondra basically be our version of John Gruden by the time we're done.
Right. Yeah,
She's going to be Jane Gruden.
Jane Gruden.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be a ball knower.
Yeah.
Jane
We're gonna have,
Gruden.
I mean, we got
Jane
you.
Madden.
We got you 11 personnel,
Yeah.
12 personnel. We taught you pass protection yesterday.
Gulf Coast Office Products, though. Have you ever called an 800 number? You get it's like, oh, press 1 or read the menu again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 0. And you just kept pressing 0. Like, let me talk to a person. Let me talk to a person. No matter what that 0 means, they'll eventually get you there. Not at Gulf Coast Office. You call them, especially if you're on the job. Like in your office, everything relies on what goes to the office. You're printing. If something goes down, you don't want your work to cease the rest of the day and a mechanic to come out the next day. Call them. They will get somebody out there as fast as possible. Talk to a human being. GCOPnet.com.
All right, more OTB when we come back here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Off the bench.
All right, go to PelicanRoof.com. PelicanRoof.com is the website for Pelican Roofing. And right there on the homepage, you can check out so many different things, the 5-star reviews, the instant roof quote right there on the top right corner of the site. You can check out the financing options that they have available right there. It is a tab. Click on it. They got great options there for the financing portion of it, and Flynn's going to tell you about those. But remember, they are in Lafayette. They are in Baton Rouge, in both. They have offices in both. They have boots on the ground in both. They're always doing something big in the local community as well. Go to the website, visit them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. They're everywhere. PelicanRoof.com.
A new roof is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big purchase. It's a big thing happening to your home, okay? 0% financing. Go to their website. Check it out. All qualified buyers, 0% finance for up to 21 months. How do you know if you're a qualified buyer? Call them. Go to their website. Start the process today for that new roof. PelicanRoof.com.
From the locker room to the airwaves, it's Off the Bench with Jacob Hester and Matt Flynn.
Always talking about what he wants and just sits on his broke ass. So, no, I don't want your number. No, I don't want to give you mine. And no, I don't want to meet you nowhere. No, don't want none of your time. And no, I don't want no scrub. A scrub is a guy that can't get no love from me. Hanging on the passenger side of his best friend's ride. Trying to holler at me.
Alondra, I was trying to look up how much LSU used 11 personnel last year, because now that you're a certified ball knower,
Yeah.
you noticed that
Yes.
last year.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look it
Y'all
up.
ever for us, for Hester and I's age, we were middle school. When boys are starting to like girls, girls starting to like boys, and you're learning how to talk to girls. Still don't know, but at this time the song came out and girls were would actually call boys scrubs.
Oh, this song?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would actually call boys scrubs after
I
the
still
song came
call
out.
boys scrubs.
Do you?
If they're being a scrub, yeah.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot
think she
of.
wants a
You're
Scrub?
either a
I
scrub
want a
or
scrub.
you're a swag.
we were growing
I don't
up.
think that's a thing.
Scrub or swag.
Scrub or
Late-
swag.
That could be a new dating app that you come
Jeff
up with.
Levy?
Scrub
Are you
or-
a scrub? Or are you
Late
a
high
swag?
school, it was F boy. That's what they used a
yeah.
lot.
Yeah, boy.
That one hits harder.
No, it does for
feel like
sure. But
that one hits
that's
hard.
that's one that our school used probably before we graduated. I guess late high school.
Or bum. Bum's a good one.
Bum, you bum.
Don't be a bum, bro.
You bum.
I don't want no.
I feel like we're missing like a key one here. Maybe not.
Yeah, boy.
Swag or scrub would be a good segment idea too.
I think so. Did Jeff Levy create something?
Yep.
Which side would he be on?
Depends.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see
Right,
what his
well,
answers are
That's
coming
what
up
I'm
next
saying. Which
week.
side would Jeff actually be on?
We'll have to see.
Oh. question idea for next week just popped in my brain. Read all coaches and players mean tweets about themselves. Have them read mean tweets.
I have a great idea, guys. Let's torture everybody.
Yeah.
Just go to
Let's
If
make
they're
everybody
fun,
feel bad about themselves.
Like Lane Kiffin would do it and have fun with it.
if you need something for Mark Stoops, I can point you to T-Bob Abear's Twitter. There's
Yeah.
probably a handful on there.
Mark Stoops. Would you read this, please?
We will not have any slander for Mark Stoops here anymore, okay?
Coach. No, you're off Kentucky. You're on Missouri this year. Don't try to defend.
No, Missouri this year. Missouri's not. I've been on Missouri in the past. Kentucky certainly more than any other team. I have yet to decide. I think who my diamond in the rough.
Yeah, I was gonna say, who's your
team will
dark
be.
horse?
Wait, SEC?
Yeah,
Yeah, SEC.
Nobody
Can't
talks
be
about
South
the
Carolina
ACC.
anymore.
It
Vandy.
cannot be. Vandy's the first one that popped into my brain. Should we ride with Vandy?
Not if I have anything to do with it.
That's
Let's
true.
ride.
That's
Let's
true.
ride. Oh, we got a let's ride from Fleet.
Oh, just like his boy.
Hey, next hour
He
we got
loves
He loves Russ.
Russell.
Danger Russ. Mr. Unlimited.
Off the bench.
Go to K2Z Blinds, KTOZBlinds.com. Have Brandon Barton and the team come out to your home. Look at your space. Maybe it's an outdoor motorized screen. Maybe it's Roman shades. Maybe it's blinds. Look, the bottom line is it doesn't matter what it is. They're going to make sure they get you all set up. Interior, exterior, does not matter. Sometimes, like me, the outdoor shade that we have, it actually shades our living room as well. Cools the room down, right? It has a dual purpose because they are going to know your space better than you in 10 minutes. KTOZBlinds.com.
Jake and Matt, why do I need this? Why do I need blinds? Why do I need these things? Why do I need window coverings? Well, for one, they make your house more energy efficient, lower those power bills every month. Quality of life goes up. They look great, and they're just amazing people over there to work with. So call them, K2Z Interiors and Outdoor Living. Improve your house, improve your monthly bills, K2ZBlinds.com.